keep her boyfriend from cheating. The woman cut off his legs and turned him into a helpless captive. The tops of his thighs were locked inside an iron ring. The ring was attached to a wooden chair for support. Any movement would bring unbearable pain. She lied and told him he had been in a car accident. Although he had survived, he had lost both of his legs. Every day she carefully cleaned the wood shavings from his body. At first he could not accept what had happened. When she held food out to him, he felt nothing but disgust. The woman ignored him and calmly wiped the dirt from her face. Usually a stubborn pet only needed a little discipline.
不要再这样了，旧的还没好，又有新的伤口，这样什么时候才会好呢？
After that she began feeding him again. Sure enough, this time he behaved much better, and quietly ate his meal. Afterward she carefully treated his wounds again. Under her constant care his injuries slowly improved. But while she talked to herself, his eyes were fixed on the tools sitting on the cabinet. After glancing at her boyfriend, she reached her hand inside the bandages. He strongly resisted this twisted form of affection, but the woman seemed not to care. She slowly untied his bandages, then turned away. He had no choice but to endure it. By then he had already formed an escape plan. In the days that followed he changed his attitude. His obedience finally won her trust. Then he suggested that he wanted her beef noodles for dinner. She happily agreed. That evening she really brought him a bowl of beef noodles. He suddenly said he wanted to feed himself. She hesitated for a moment but agreed. After all, his legs were firmly secured and there was nowhere to run. This was the second step of his plan, but the tools on the cabinet were still far out of reach. Looking at her long hair he came up with an idea, so he offered to brush her hair. While she relaxed and enjoyed it, he secretly hid the strands that came out in the brush. After she left he braided them into a rope. From then on they ate together every day, and after each meal he brushed her hair. After some time he finally had enough hair. Later, while eating sesame oil chicken, he secretly kept 2 bones in his mouth. Before long he had made a simple rope hook. After his girlfriend left for work he put his plan into action. Every struggle brought him intense pain. After several attempts, he finally reached the screwdriver. Unfortunately it fell onto the floor. He could only try to reach down for it, but the iron ring held him firmly in place, leaving him very little room to move, but to escape from the woman's control. He endured the agony and forced his thigh free. At last he managed to pick up the screwdriver. Then he gritted his teeth and unscrewed the bolts on the iron ring. The unbearable pain nearly made him pass out. At last he succeeded. But just when he finally crawled to the door he discovered the truth behind everything. Outside stood another person who looked exactly like him. Only then did he realize that he was merely a wooden sculpture made by the woman. One that had somehow been given a soul. The woman was a wood sculptor. She had spent her entire life chasing the dream of creating works with souls. But how could something carved from wood ever truly come to life? One day while sleeping on the couch she was awakened by loud noises from next door. Angrily she rushed over and knocked on the door, but to her surprise the one who opened it was her ex-boyfriend, asking who is it.
谁啊？学姐，你怎么会在这里？
What shocked her even more was that his new girlfriend was actually her former junior. Awkwardly she could only say that she had been sleeping, and came over because the noise they were making woke her up.
不好意思，刚刚吵到你，我会再小声一点。
没关系啦，你们赶快忙吧，有空可以一起吃个饭的。
好。
那你们忙，我先回去了。
But after returning home she could no longer hide her feelings. She still could not forget her ex-boyfriend. So every day she carved wooden versions of him. She made pile after pile of sculptures but none of them had a soul. That troubled her deeply. She never expected to meet him again today. Watching the two of them so affectionate, going to work together and coming home together, filled her with jealousy and anger. That kind of life was supposed to belong to her. He had given all of his love to this girl. Seeing her ex-boyfriend cherish another woman so much, made her deeply resentful. So she grabbed a power drill and bored a hole through the wall. That way she could spy on what the two of them were doing every day. Watching them eat together and watch television together. She would move her wooden boyfriend beside her. But after all it was made of wood. It could neither smile nor speak. It could never compare with a living person. Whenever she saw her ex-boyfriend smile, she smiled along with him, as if he were right there beside her. She hugged the wooden boyfriend hoping to feel even a trace of warmth from him. But one day while spying again she discovered that her ex-boyfriend was looking in her direction. She was startled. Had he discovered that she had been spying on him?
老公，你在看什么？那你魂都飞了，没那么严重吧？
那是我近半年的业绩。
没关系啊，下次再努力就好。
Wanting to comfort the man, the girl decided to reward him. Hearing the sounds of their intimacy, the woman on this side could no longer hold herself back. Her ex-boyfriend even told the girl to make the sounds louder on purpose, so she could hear every bit of it clearly. Perhaps that was his own way of punishing her. Thinking back to when they first got together, he had admired her greatly. For the sake of art she would refine even a simple potted plant over and over again. If it was not carved well enough she would smash it without hesitation.
干嘛要跟作品发脾气啊？
这不是作品，这是垃圾。
The man felt that she demanded far too much of herself. How could a piece of wood possibly have a soul? But the woman never gave up, until she finally created a piece that satisfied her. After seeing it, her boyfriend could not hide his admiration. It looked almost exactly like the real thing. But then he glanced at the real potted plant beside it. He said the real potted plant changed a little every single day. It had already started to look different. So you do not need to make it perfect. There is no such thing as perfection in this world. Living that way will only exhaust you. To his surprise, after hearing her boyfriend's sincere advice, the woman smashed the potted plant into pieces. That way her wooden version of the plant would stay perfect forever. Well, is my sculpture perfect enough? It is the one with a soul. It is the one that is truly alive. That night, while browsing the internet, the woman accidentally came across a post. The title read, "Do you want to reunite with the one you lost? Then come to the bird tribe." It was said they possessed an extremely mysterious ritual that could allow people to see their departed loved ones. Driven by curiosity, she went there. Quite a few people had gathered. Everyone had come for the same reason. Soon she spotted a person wearing a bird mask. The figure seemed mysterious. Inside the building, she found people everywhere wearing the same masks. Following the directions, she arrived at the hillside behind the building. The organization was already performing the ritual. One of them took out an eagle, then cut its leg. Something astonishing happened next. The flowing blood began to gather together. Then it transformed into the shadow of an eagle and flew into the sculpture in front of them. The sculpture suddenly seemed to come to life. Then a miracle appeared. The devoted worshippers truly saw the loved ones who had passed away, but they had only souls and no bodies. People often realize the value of something only after losing it. Even if all they could see was an illusion, they were still willing to take the risk. Just then, a staff member suddenly fired an arrow at the eagle in the sky. The eagle fell straight down toward the woman. When she woke up again, she was already back inside a room. There was also a new wound on her hand. Soon a person wearing a bird head mask walked in. The visitor showed no hostility. The woman asked what had happened to her hand.
你什么都不记得了吗？对你来说也许是好事。你跟其他人不一样，祖灵选择了你。
The woman had no idea what an ancestral spirit was. She only knew that she seemed to have gained some mysterious power.
可以的话，把一切都忘了。你想的事情很危险。
他很惊讶，对方竟然知道自己心中所想。
我想的事情是什么？
祖灵仪式只能用在对的地方，不要做你现在心里想的事情。
为什么不行？我也有爱人啊。
The other person said, "The love that exists in this world should be obtained in another way. The ancestral spirit ritual was created for those who had already passed away. It should never be used on the living."
所以其实是办得到，对吧？
The bird-headed figure gave no answer. The cause and the consequence both rest within yourself. After returning home, she looked at the bird mask in her hand, then turned on the light and slowly put it on. Looking at the wooden sculpture of her boyfriend beside her, she seemed to have already made up her mind. Yet the ritual was still missing its most important step, so she invited her ex-boyfriend to visit her home. He also happened to want to clear everything up once and for all, because he had already decided to propose to his girlfriend. She brought over some tea, and deliberately left a tiny barb on the cup. When the man reached for it, the barb would prick his hand. That way he would bleed, and the woman would draw it into her mouth. The man was completely at a loss. Now that he was getting married, he wanted to cut ties with the past once and for all. The man could not take it anymore. He shoved the woman away, and told her he was about to get married. He hoped she would stop bothering him from now on, but after hearing that, she bit him without hesitation. Looking at the deep bite wound, he cursed that she had completely lost her mind, and she truly had. Do not leave. If you leave, I will do something foolish. She had still held onto a small hope that they could get back together, but now it seemed the only way to stay with him was by another method. Later the girl returned to her apartment. The man officially proposed to her. Meanwhile the woman completed her ritual. The scene shifted. After struggling all the way to the doorway by crawling up the stairs, the man saw more than a dozen wooden figures identical to himself, and every one of them was covered with scars. He could not imagine how far his ex-girlfriend had descended into madness. The man could only crawl forward even faster. To his surprise, the door would not open no matter what he did. He looked closely. Only then did he realize she had replaced the lock with a keypad lock. Without his legs he could not reach it at all. He could only scream for help. Just as he was about to give up, a voice suddenly rang out. It was his fiance's voice. He hurriedly called for help, saying the woman had kept him trapped in her house for a long time, but her reply filled him with terror.
什么意思啊？你在开什么玩笑？
我没有在跟你开玩笑，小文他是一个疯子，你快点报警！
你今天早上才出门上班的。
不管，你快点帮我报警！
你等我，马上去隔壁。
It seemed the two of them were not in the same time and space. Although she found it strange, his fiancée still came to the woman's house, but the man could not open the door for her. The girl asked him what had happened. He angrily said Xiaowen had chopped off his legs. The girl was shocked after hearing that. She quickly pulled out her phone to call the police, but at that moment a hand reached over. The woman had returned. She had seen everything through the surveillance cameras, so she came home ahead of time.
志伟为什么会在你家？你快开门啊！
志伟在我家，你误会了吧？
雨凡，你不要去他了，你快跑！
我现在开门。
雨凡，你快跑啊！
To everyone's surprise, the woman remained remarkably calm even now. She seemed to have already prepared a solution. When the door was opened, the girl saw her fiancé with both legs gone. She was stunned because she had watched him leave for work that very morning, and they had been together every day recently. So how had he suddenly become like this? The man shouted for her to run. The woman had completely lost her mind, but it was already too late. The innocent girl met a tragic fate as well. He could not believe his ex-girlfriend would silence someone forever. She was far beyond being simply insane. She had become a monster. She nailed him to the floor, then sealed his mouth tightly with tape. The woman told him everything would be fine. She said if she could create him, then she could create his fiancé too. Then she carried over a wooden sculpture. It seemed she had prepared it long ago. The carving was clearly made in the girl's likeness. She then put on the bird mask, following the ancestral spirit ritual. She cut the girl's palm, but the blood did not gather and fly into the sculpture like before. She was confused. Then she tried again, but nothing happened once more. The woman thought the lighting was the problem, but even after adjusting it, the result was still the same. The girl was truly gone and her soul never appeared. Now she finally panicked. Things were never supposed to turn out like this. Her ex-boyfriend had been created this very way, so why would it not work for the girl? With no other choice, the woman tried to hide the body. She brought over a bag and put the girl inside, but at that exact moment the girl's phone started ringing. It was Ji-wei calling. She wanted to hang up, but her gloves kept her from touching the screen. Outside, Ji-wei heard the ringtone coming from her house. In a panic, she pulled off her gloves and ended the call.
小文，开门！开门！
Seeing this, both versions of Ji-wei were stunned. How could there be someone who looked exactly like him? After glancing at the wooden Ji-wei, he walked over to the bag holding the body. When he opened it, he found his fiancée inside. He could not believe what he saw. He had only gone to work and returned to find his fiancée suddenly gone. The two of them had planned to get married next month.
谢谢志文，他以为什么东西？
The woman remembered what the bird-headed man had told her. The ancestral spirit ritual existed to let people see loved ones who had passed away. Love that still belonged to this world should not be pursued in this way. The woman said she loved him too much. She thought she could forget him, but he appeared in her life again.
我们不是灵魂伴侣吗？
所以是你杀了雨凡是吗？
这是意外，他应该要能醒来的，你能有灵魂啊。
She wondered if it was because she loved the man and not Yufan, so Yufan could not return. Because the ritual was meant to bring back the one you truly loved. Ji-wei could not understand a word of what she was rambling about. In anger, he grabbed her by the throat. The woman hurriedly said that as long as they destroyed that creature and turned it back into a statue, then they could go to the bird village and ask the shaman there to bring Yufan back. Everything would return to the way it was. In Ji-wei's eyes, she had completely gone insane. If that was the case, then she might as well join his fiancé in death. Just as the woman was about to be strangled, the wooden Ji-wei stepped in. He killed his original self. No one expected such an ending. He roared angrily at the man. He declared that the real Ji-wei was already dead. Now he himself was Ji-wei. This would be your most perfect creation. At this point, the woman could only accept reality.
我是怪物，而你是我最完美的作品。
The movie ends here. I am Matt and I will see you in the next episode.